Hello, everyone. Sarah Pacaro here. Today, we're going to be talking about the PME. What is the PME? The PME is two things. It is the perfectionist and the procrastinator. They're two sides of the same coin. And if you want to know more about this after this video and the other four archetypes of the emotionally abused and neglected, I invite you to join our Facebook group. It's called Transform. It's a private Facebook group, and it goes into all of the archetypes of the emotionally abused and neglected, and a special invitation to joining Transforming Past Pain to Present Power. But we're going to get into the PME today because that is who I used to be. And that is who so many people are. And it stops them from going very far in their relationships and in going for their dreams, their goals, their desires. It really, really, really hurts them. It's very painful to be stuck in this PME type of mindset. I know so many people that are feeling like they're stuck. They're going to die with their dreams inside of them because of this PME perception that they have. And that's really what perfectionism is a perception. It's your perception of how things have to be perfect. And so many people that come to me to work with this are so surprised at what it's connected to. So let's first talk about what perfectionism is, and we'll get into what it's connected to. It's trauma response. And all that trauma is trapped information. So there's information within that is screaming at you, that desires to get out. So you can see there's such a close weave of desire and information. We desire things to be perfect, but we fear that it's not. So there's desire and then there's fear. But perfectionism is a trauma response, which is just essentially trapped information where you desire something and you feel trapped by the fear that you're not going to have your desires met. And it's rooted in a need to control. And we have this need to control due to a fear of rejection. If we can keep ourselves from experiencing that rejection, fear is the little barrier or the buffer that keeps us from going for it, that pulls us back into what feels like safety, but it's just a perception of safety because it says if you put yourself out there and you go around the fear, beyond the fear, then you're going to experience rejection that will cause even more pain. So let's be back here where you're just going to remain the same. Okay. Let's not do that. And that's this, it has to be perfect before I can put it out there. It's really deeply rooted in the fear of rejection. So perfectionism is a need. And anything that's in a need is in a lack energy and a lack frequency. It's in a need to appear a particular way. It's in a need to appear perfect in an attempt to be seen as more valuable to others. And this really is deeply connected to low self-esteem, low value, low self-worth, negative, detrimental, limiting mindset, thoughts, beliefs, self-talk. It's deeply rooted in shame from past experiences and beliefs that you've developed about yourself because of those experiences or because of those relationships. And a lot of it has to do with self-blame. We blame ourselves. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just get that done? And then we compare ourselves to other people who seem to just be able to do the things that you desire to do. See how there's a connection to desire and fear. And it's this belief that if you put yourself out there, then you're going to expose yourself to more trauma or to more ridicule or to more abuse or to what other people say about you. And if they don't like the way you do it or how you do it, you're so worried about what they're going to say. And so it's got to be perfect before you do. And you think, well, it ought to, it's got to be. When they do it, it's perfect. So I'm going to continue to work on it until it's perfect. But then that leads to procrastination, which is the other side of the PME coin. But perfectionists, they develop this as a protective mechanism, a coping mechanism, as a survival mechanism. It's a way for them to survive. It's a way for them to protect themselves when they didn't feel that in the past, through those experiences and the things that other people said about them, they had any control over how they were treated or how they were perceived by others. So this is about protecting and preserving their image. I'm not going to put myself out there because then what are other people going to say? And you know what? When that happened in the past, when that happened in this last relationship or in my upbringing as a child, I didn't have any control of that. And I experienced this pain, this deeply rooted pain that turned into self shame and self blame when someone said this about me, when they had this perception about me, and when they treated me that way. Man, did it hurt. And that's what perfectionism does. It develops from an internal pressure. It's this internal pressure that you feel. And a lot of people that I work with prior to working together say that they feel this pressure in their chest, they feel it in their throat, and they oftentimes have a difficult time verbalizing it, or they feel the pressure intensely in their head. And then they get a headache when they even start to work on it, when they have this perception it's not perfect. And that's part of the procrastination that comes in as a protective mechanism to say, you know what, just take a break, just relax, it's okay, you can do it more tomorrow or you can work on it later. And then the other side of that coin gets flipped over and says, yeah, you're right, let's just do it later, you're right, because they're experiencing this intense headache, this internal pressure that they're living with. And that really is from the internal judgment that they have that is so critical, so negative, so harsh. And that's developed to try and protect them from further failure or from further punishment. So that pressure and that experience and the physical sensation they have also has a benefit. You see, it's trying to keep them away from more pain because the mind is programmed to keep you away from pain and towards pleasure. And so even though there's discomfort and not completing what your heart desires to, there's pleasure in moving away from the pain. And when you take a break, then the intensity and the pressure subsides and it alleviates. And then you tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll work on it later. And what that does is just keeps you from a feeling of inferiority. And that's developed. These patterns, these habits, these actions are all developed because of internal and unconscious beliefs that you have about yourself, of what the experience of receiving external validation will be like, especially if it makes you feel less worthy or if it further diminishes your value because of someone else's words and what they say. And it's so interesting to work with people, especially privately and one to one. We go through this in the program as well. We go through healing from all of the archetypes, the the PME, the perfectionist procrastinator, the F me, which is the fake fraud me, the gaslighter me, the superhero me, and the stuffer bottler. It's hard to say. In the program, Transforming Past Pain to Present Power, but you'll see that perfectionism shows up and it presents uniquely and it presents in different ways for all of us. But for all of us, it's deeply rooted in similar fears and similar thoughts and patterns and beliefs about ourselves, that you don't want to be a burden, you don't want to be seen as weak, and you're someone who's struggling with perfectionism, and you read things like that it's face the fear and do it anyway, and you're like, I know that I can't, and there's a book that I read that's called Feel the Fear and Just Do It Anyway. And you're like, how do people just do it anyway? Like I can't. I literally feel stopped. I feel blocked. I at the in internal pressure is just too much. I can't handle it. I can't deal with it. So I'm not going to, and I'm not going to push myself through this. You don't need to. What you need to do is connect to the core and the root of what's causing this. Because when you get to that and you transform your internal unconscious beliefs, then you can feel better about being on the other side of it. And then you can get behind things like, it feels better to just get it done. I really don't care what other people say. And you can really get into the energy of not caring, but not caring in a way that's caring about yourself, that allows you to propel and move forward and continue on moving towards and achieving your desires and your dreams. So that's what I want for you. That is my hope, my goal, my wish, my dream, my prayer for you. But understand, when you're still living with internal unhealed wounds from your past, from relationships, from your upbringing that are leading to this perfectionism and needing to be perfect so that you're perceived in a certain light or in a certain way, that's going to continue to significantly deteriorate and impact your self-esteem. What little of it seems like you have left. And you may be thinking that, yeah, I mean, I don't want to put myself out there because I already have such low self-esteem. And if anyone says anything bad or they don't agree with what I say or the way that I do it, it's just going to take what's left of me. And I've got to preserve what's left of me. So understand that what you're trying to do is avoid harsh judgment, avoid any more criticism than you've already experienced, and avoid the feeling of them out there not liking you, even though part of you says, who cares what they think? If they're going to be judgmental and critical, you don't need to care what they think anyway. And you can read things like that and go, yeah, I know I shouldn't care, but I do. And so sometimes reading things like that are not very helpful or beneficial. What is the most helpful and most beneficial if you're truly leading towards transformation from this is to get to the core and the root of what it is that's causing this for you, because you can watch videos like this and you can read things about it, but until your internal unconscious beliefs about yourself change that have you feel safe, that have you feel like you care about not caring, like truly deeply in your core, that you can just be you and you can create from you and you can just go live for you and stop living for them, or stop living to avoid that within you, then everything about you gets to shine brightly, gets to shine like the sun, and you get to feel so good about completing things, regardless of whether or not your perception or anyone else's is that it's perfect. So if you are ready for that and you're ready to connect more and truly transform your internal unconscious beliefs and have them be ones of completion instead of delay and procrastination, I'd love to connect with you. You can find out more at sarahpacaro.com. There you can find out more about working privately together or more information about transforming past pain to present power. You can also join the free masterclass that talks about all of the other archetypes as well. Love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.